Check, check, check. Welcome, folks, to Higgins Stadium here at Ithaca College for a matchup today in men's lacrosse between the Ithaca Bombers and the Hamilton Continentals. I'm Anthony Labonte. Alongside me is Johnny Lisi here today. And Johnny, let's just get this thing started. Ithaca right now is 7-2. They are one win shy of tying their record from last year. Coach Pierce's first year in the league. What has been such a great success for Ithaca that's got them to this spot?
Well, Anthony, the key for Ithaca has been they've gotten out to hot starts. A couple wins I want to highlight is really the big win, obviously kind of the elephant in the room, is that win against Brockport, 25-6. Ithaca had 14 goals at halftime. They roared out to a fantastic start. Last game against a very good Vassar team. We were talking before we went on air. Any team in the Liberty League is not meant to be taken lightly. We'll get to it with Hamilton and the NESCAC in a minute. But Ithaca led Vassar 7-0 at the end of the first quarter. So Ithaca has been putting teams away early. It's almost seems like in the games here at Higgins Stadium where Ithaca is 6-0, it's been the same formula. We saw it against Geneseo. We saw it against Widener. We saw it against Brockport, Vassar. The Bombers would jump out to a hot start early, and then later in the game, the teams would crawl back, but Ithaca buried them in such a deep hole that it was impossible to crawl back. So it's been a very winning formula.
As you said, 6-0 record this season at home and a 10-4 record over his time here at Ithaca for head coach Tommy Pierce at Higgins Stadium. But now let's look at the other team, Hamilton. They're 2-4 entering this contest, something that you may not expect from them. What has been a problem considering this is the first time they've lost 4 games in their first 6 since 2018?
Well, this is a 2-4 record that should not be a 2-4 record. You look at this Hamilton team, and Anthony, to answer your question incredibly bluntly, you said, what's the problem? Why are they 2-4? They're in the NESCAC. That is arguably in every sport one of the best conferences that you could possibly play in. A lot of these great teams. I mean, the number 1 team in the nation and the defending national championships, the Tufts Jumbos, they are in the NESCAC. But I want to zoom in on that game a little bit. It was played at a neutral site in the Callum Robinson Mustang Classic in Owings Mills, Maryland. Still counts as a conference game. Hamilton led Tufts 3-1 at halftime. They had a lead over the Jumbos, the defending national champions, but Tufts really battled back in the second half, scored 13 goals, and Tufts ended up winning the game 14-8. But this is a Hamilton team that can compete with teams. They only lost by 1, 9-8 to the 12th team in the country, another NESCAC team in Amherst. They also only lost by 4 to the 8th-ranked team in the country, also in Owings Mills, the Gettysburg Bullets. So this is a Hamilton team that is contending tough with a lot of these teams. So when you're playing really good competition, same with Ithaca and the Liberty League. We look at last season. For Ithaca, not the season they wanted to have, but they played RPI tough. They played RIT tough. Hamilton, they played Tufts close. They played Amherst close. So they're beating those, they're contending with these nationally ranked teams that you're seeing that are in conference.
As you were saying, the nationally ranked teams, Hamilton has played many more. Ithaca's played 1. They played St. John Fisher, the number 15 team in the country. They lost that one by 1. However, you look at some of the teams that this Hamilton team faced off against, and they were higher seed. You said 12, 8, 1. Is this game going to be a must-win for the Bombers as they head into more games in the Liberty League, including against number 4 RPI, number 3 RIT, or 16 St. Lawrence?
Yeah, well, I love that you said, Ithaca's only played 1 ranked team because, spoiler alert, a lot of the rest of their season is against ranked teams. Like you said, number 4 RPI, number 3 RIT, number 16 St. Lawrence. I believe Skidmore was receiving votes at some point in the season. Clarkson's also tough. Oh, yeah, and your last non-conference team, 18th ranked Cortland on the road. So this is a very tough schedule for Ithaca, and they've looked really good. So I think for this Ithaca team, you have a lot of confidence. But, yeah, Anthony, like you said, this is a must-win game for the Bombers because the schedule is not going to get much easier from here for the rest of the season because you're playing top-ranked competition night in and night out, and this is also kind of a confidence booster. You want to go on the road on Saturday and play the 4th-ranked team in the country in the RPI Engineers, and you want to play well against RPI. Come in playing with confidence. So, yeah, this is an absolute must-win game. This 8th win would kind of be it's kind of like it's a threshold for the Bombers. You know, you're successful. You're more successful than you were last season. I really love the mantra that Coach Pierce has instilled. It's been a hashtag on a lot of the game day posts. Chris Soule mentioned it on my podcast. Stacking 24s, and the Bombers really need to keep stacking these 24s, getting these big wins, getting the confidence before going into that gauntlet that is the Liberty League schedule.
Well, we spoke of the Liberty League. Now let's speak of their other out-of-conference matchups, specifically the one that happened here at Higgins Stadium less than a week ago, the game against SUNY Brockport. Brendan Okino was the one who played the best. I would say the best out of the scorers. He had 6 goals in the game, which tied the amount of goals that SUNY Brockport had in the entire game. How is he going to be a key factor into this one after he scored 10 goals within the past 7 days?
Well, it's an incredible statistic that you look at. For him, it's really getting him involved. This is a very deep Bombers team. We were talking about it. Lucas Proctor, the leading scorer on the team, 16 goals, 10 assists. He's not in the starting lineup. So you look at this, you have Lucas Proctor coming off the sideline and playing really well. Some other players I want to spotlight. You also have Kyle Proctor, 15 goals, 10 assists. I feel like he's the banner player. But someone I want to look at is the graduate student from Duxbury, Massachusetts, and that's Kyle Savory with 14 goals and 6 assists. He has been spectacular in this early part of the season. And another person who had a really good performance against Vassar on Saturday is Cullen Adams. Cullen Adams had 3 goals. He has 10 goals on the season, and Cullen Adams in the starting lineup tonight. So you look at this Bombers team, they're deep. They have a lot of players who can score and score well, and that's a threat if you're any other team.
Absolutely. So Kyle Savory has the Bay State kid, 20 points, on the season. The Proctor brothers leading those 2 for them. Now, the Bombers have so many more goals with them. They have 129 goals that they've scored this season. Meanwhile, they've only allowed 59. In comparison, Hamilton has been only scored 59. They've allowed 57. Do you think that's just because of their tough competition, or do you think there's maybe a little bit something else happening here between that team?
I think it's a little bit of a style shift because you look at Ithaca and what has been really kind of the headline for them early in the season. It's offense, and a hot offense that is red hot to start games. So you look at this Ithaca team, they're a more offensive-minded team. I mean, yes, they've also been spectacular on defense, and they played more of a defensive battle on the road at Stockton. That was only a 6-5 game. But, it's different styles of lacrosse you get. You get different styles of lacrosse in New York, and you're going to get a little bit of a different style when, Hamilton, they're only about an hour and a half here from Ithaca and Clinton, New York, the farthest team out of the NESCAC. But you're going to be playing these New England schools that have a little bit more of a defensive mindset here. It was the same when Ithaca played Widener. The style of lacrosse in Pennsylvania is a lot different. Same with Stockton and New Jersey. When you get these out-of-state teams, it's a lot different styles. So I don't think that it's an issue with Hamilton. I think they're just playing 2 different styles of lacrosse. And head coach for Hamilton, Scott Barnard, he's been there for 18 seasons. So we're going to see very different styles, and I'm excited to see which one kind of prevails. And I think the first quarter is the most important quarter for this Ithaca team. Will they get out to a hot defensive start, or will it be a little bit more of a feeling each other out first quarter?
Well, so Ithaca's next game after this will be against number 4 RPI. Meanwhile, for the Continentals, their next matchup will be against Bowdoin. But this one is going to be a make or break for both of these teams. Can they shift from momentum? What are they going to do? Johnny, let's hear your prediction for this one.
I think it's going to be a higher scoring first quarter. I think it's going to be tight at halftime. We're going to have some fun stuff to unpack. at halftime. But I'm going to go with Ithaca 17 and Hamilton 11. I think it's going to be close. These two teams have not met since 2007. Higgins Stadium did not even exist the last time that Ithaca played Hamilton at home. So I think it's definitely an interesting little nugget there. But 17-11 Bombers over the Continentals.
Well, that will do it here for the pregame show. Stick with us, though, because coming up, Morgan Spriggs and Devin Jarvis will take you through this game, and we'll be back at halftime. For Johnny Lisi, I'm Anthony Labonte. Stay tuned.
From Higgins Stadium on the campus of Ithaca College, it's Devin Jarvis and Morgan Spriggs with your presentation of Ithaca Men's Lacrosse. It's a nice Tuesday afternoon, evening here. And Morgan, we have a fun game ahead. 15 minutes in this first quarter, 16 minutes, 60 minutes to go in the game. And it should be a good one.
Yeah, exactly right, Devin. I'm really looking forward to this game. And the Bombers, the reason why they have won 5 games in a row is because of the sterling home record coming in at 6-0 right here at Higgins Stadium. And also, in their last 3 home games, they have outscored their opponents 24-1 in the first quarter. So if they get off to good starts, particularly high-scoring first quarters, they could have a lot of success in this matchup.
Well, we begin things here from Higgins Stadium. Chris Solo in the opening faceoff, and we are off. He'll lose it just a moment after. That'll be Reese Hickey eventually getting it for the Hamilton Continentals. Hamilton wearing their royal blue uniforms, white shorts, white helmets, and that white undershirt shirt. It's a little bit chilly today. Not your typical warm weather that we saw just a week ago against Brockport. Bombers wearing their all-white uniforms with their navy blue lettering. Here's a charge from Hamilton inside. One of the better teams from the NESCAC as Delinsky has it at X. He's going to transfer it over to Pearl. Pearl spinning around, working far side. Near side goal line extended. He has it just outside the box. Here, charging to his right. Was from the point, now down the right alley. Good defense by the Bombers, something they've been known for a little bit. This conference in the Liberty League is a tough one as a charge comes inside from Hamilton. That was Estep. Estep doesn't like his look. Rotates back outside through Coyle. Now far side here. Here, top of the point. Kicks to the left wing. Estep back to the net. He's working near side goal line extended. Goes back for Coyle. Coyle going to reset outside again.
They have inside 10 to shoot here.
The shot comes. Menard, a good save, goes left to the goal. And that will stay with Hamilton. Looks like it just caught a bit of the post.
And the shot clock resets.
With that post hit, yes it does. Estep now has it near side. Hamilton and the Continentals working right to left on the turf. They're a solid team, 2-4 on the season, which might not sound solid, but it's that tough NESCAC schedule that they've faltered in, 1-3 overall in that. A step inside, working close Estep, by the net and scores! A great start for Estep, and a great start for Hamilton. They'll put themselves on the board with 1 goal.
Yeah, Wyatt Estep, that is his first goal of the year. The sophomore midfielder has assisted on 6 goals, but this is his first tally by himself. And this is a huge start for Hamilton. Now let's see what they can do on the face-off here.
Yeah, we saw Ithaca lose the face-off to start. And, not, atypical, but listen, when you have a guy like Chris Sully, you're expecting him to be there. He's having his best season of his career, and it looks like it will once again go to the side of Hickey. Ball is still out. Ground ball going to be won by Collins after a little bit. They'll have the possession once again, and the Continentals are going to try to work here. 13 minutes to go in the first quarter. Hamilton leading 1-0. The flag is on, so this will be a man-up advantage for the Continentals after the Bombers are able to make a stop.
This is about as good of a start for Hamilton as you could have. Ithaca comes in winning 72% of their face-offs. Meanwhile, for Hamilton, they're not as good in terms of winning the face-offs, only 46%. So winning the first 2 face-offs, getting a man-up advantage, up 1-0 against this Ithaca team that really gets off to good starts, and now on the man advantage. This could be a really big opportunity for the Continentals to go up 2-0.
Let's see if Kraus can make that happen. He's working close. Underneath. A rip just above Menard. Not able to put his net to it, but again it goes out, and that'll be a man-up advantage coming soon for the Continentals. Flag came on the start after the face-off between Hickey and Soul. And it does look like going to the box will be Ethan Flanagan, the midfielder. So he'll be out for just 30 seconds. Flanagan only with 1 penalty on the year. That lasted a minute. So not a lot of time. 60 seconds on the shot clock, 30 seconds on the man-up clock.
Ithaca's allowed 4 man-up goals from their opponents on the year.
Behind the net, rotating at X. Hamilton with good ball movement. It's Coyle. Coyle rotates near side goal line extended. Now kicks to the outside of the box. Pearl going to rotate things around the horn. Back to far side goal line extended. Here's Coyle. Coyle kicking it the other way. They got room inside. A twist, a score. And Trabulsi puts Hamilton up 2-0. An amazing shot. Amazing ball movement. And that's what happens when you have a tough Hamilton team who knows their way around some good offenses to good defenses, and they've shown that so far.
The Hamilton bench right now are celebrating like they just won the game, and honestly, I can't blame them. A 2-0 start, a man-up goal. They've won both of their face-offs. Milo Trabulsi with his second goal of the year. And this is an incredible start for Hamilton. Ithaca seems a little bit rattled.
Trabulsi has 3 goals and 1 assist now on his career. Violation on the face-off, so the Bombers will pick it up. 11:30 here in the first quarter. Hamilton leading 2-0. You're listening to Bombers Sports YouTube here from Higgins Stadium. Devin Jarvis and Morgan Spriggs on your coverage. They'll slow things down. It's Kyle Savory here, rotating back to the Ithaca logo at midfield. Colin Adams.
Look for Kyle Savory to be a huge part of this offense. The grad student with 14 goals, that's third on the team behind the Proctor brothers.
Ethan Madrid now rotating inside. He leads this team in assists. A great playmaker. He gets it to Colin Adams. 5 straight goals for Adams in his last 5. Rotating behind the net, Tim Rogers. He's at X, pushing far side. Rotates back out. Madrid cradling it with just his right hand. Dumps it back off for Savory. Savory at the left wing. Far side goal line extended. Now dishes it off to X. For who else but Kyle Proctor. Proctor not liking what he sees. 19 on the shot clock. Rotates far side. A dump underneath. How about Savory? Savory at the doorstep cashes in. A 2-1 lead for Hamilton now, but the Bombers cut it in half.
Just as I said, Kyle Savory, one of the offensive engines for the Bombers when they're down 2-0 and they need a score. Here he comes to cut the deficit in half. That's his 15th goal of the season. That now ties him for second on the team with Lucas Proctor behind Kyle Proctor. That's a big goal for Kyle Savory. It kind of stems the tide just a bit that Hamilton had all that momentum and now they got another draw.
Has had 3 points in at least 4 different games this season. A little turnover at the start. Chris Soule, not the usual one for that. That'll be his only 2nd turnover on the season. And we swing things back to the Continentals. They have the right half of the field, but the Bombers with a good defensive play. Kyle Proctor able to disrupt things on the clear attempt. They don't have much more time to get it across midfield. Pushing close, and finally they do. That's Keon, Riley Keon, the defender, as Hamilton slows things down. 55 seconds on the shot clock, just under 10 now on the game clock. Hamilton did a great job getting into their offensive possession. How about here inside? Bounce shot wide. He cut in from the right side wing and is doing a good job, as well as his teammates, in finding space inside against this tough Bombers defense that we're used to really shutting people down, especially at home.
Hasn't been a lot of knockaways. It's been a lot of crisp passes. His Hamilton offense is very organized, but we have a whistle here.
Thomas Healy was trying to make a cut, nearly scored the goal, but a crease violation will send things left to right and into the possession of the Ithaca Bombers. Michael Gillum going to do a good job and bring this across midfield. He'll plant his feet and wait for some substitutions. The defensive midfielder, very solid this year and had 1 goal so far. It's came against Widener. Savory has it for now with 9 to play in the first quarter. Just recently, your goal scorer created space, will spin dodge left at the point. Still cradles in his left side. Now dumps it off to Madrid on the left wing. Madrid doesn't like it, steps back outside the box and finds Colin Adams. Adams with 5 points in his last 5. Dumps underneath. Adams nearly had it. A good save there by Jack Freed in net. Bombers were able to get the rebound off of it. So Okino, who's been a stellar star for this Bomber team recently, has it. He'll find Proctor at X. Proctor standing still, looking for a teammate. Savory outside. Right side goal line extended. He's around the horn. Rips one just left. Proctor is closest. It stays with the Bombers with 35 seconds to play. Here's Proctor. He gets a pick from Okino. Okino near side goal line extended. Dodging to his left. Looking for a teammate. Spin dodge. Rotates outside to Adams. Now back to Savory left wing. Savory charging down. A dump to Rogers. Rogers rotating at X. A big presence at 6'4". Rogers spinning. Near side, a loop around and score. Your game's tied at 2. Ithaca with back-to-back.
Assisted Bombers goal. Scored by number 18, Tim Rogers.
Tim Rogers is one of the most productive scorers on this team, and this Bomber team has a lot of double-digit scorers. I can go on and on: Grant Brady, Jack Pastore, Cohen Adams, but Tim Rogers is another one of those players. He now has 15 points on this season, and all of a sudden, we're tied up again.
Missed the Brockport game just a week ago, was nursing a sprained ankle injury he suffered against Stockton. Bombers will once again lose the face-off battle. Atypical for their identity. I think if there's one bedrock of their roster, Morgan, it is that face-off spot.
100%. As I mentioned, over 70% of the face-offs they've won. And so to be losing 3 face-offs already, and we are just at 7.5 minutes to go in the first quarter, that's a little bit concerning.
They're 4th in the Liberty League in face-off percentage. On the other side, Hamilton's 8th of 11 in the NESCAC. So, I mean, you got a tough conference for both sides. It's not saying much, but still, you'd like to see a little bit more from the Bombers as this game continues. Healy was working inside. He'll dump out to Kraus, left wing. Charges in, top right, score. A sniper shot from 30 feet out. And Carson Kraus gets his 4th goal of the year.
Carson Kraus, that was an absolute rip. He was to the left of the net and then fired it to the right of the Ithaca goaltender. An amazing play. Andrew Menard couldn't do anything to stop it, and it's been a high-scoring game so far. 3-2 early on. The offenses have really shined for both clubs.
Yeah, not a bad start for both sides. Hamilton leading the charge at the moment, and they'll win another face-off. It was Gillick this time who was there for the Bombers. And once again, Hickey doing a good job at the draw circle to really set things straight for the Continentals, get them some possessions.
Yeah, it's clear that that the face-offs that Hamilton has won or lack thereof has really been focused on, and it's worked, really. I'm not trying to assume that they're practicing on it or whatnot, but it's definitely something that Hamilton needs to improve on to win, and they've done that so far in this first quarter. The
Continentals with good ball movement. It's Healy at X. He'll rotate things to Coyle on essentially a handoff. Pushing to his right. Looping around, doesn't like it. Near side goal line extended. Now back outside for Healy. Healy trying to find a man. Is able to get so. Hamilton going to rotate all the way back outside to the center circle at midfield. It's Pearl. Pearl a dump to X. Now working is Coyle. Coyle rotating back outside. 11 to play on the shot clock. Here's a chance for Hamilton. Pearl back to Coyle. He dodges near side. 5 on the shot clock. Spinning around. Doesn't have anything. Dumps inside. Nearly had a man in E-step, but just a little bit too strong. Delinsky was there too, and it goes away from him. Bombers get possession.
That was a big defensive sequence for the Bombers. They bent but didn't break. And what I've seen from this Continental team so far is that if they don't like their shot, they're going to try to find the absolute perfect look to score. And it's happened. And that strategy has really paid off. They're up 3-2. But at the same time, if you're being too selective with your shooting, like I saw in that last possession, the Bombers can really wear you out.
Bombers with a fantastic offense, fantastic defense. We've seen it prove well. These last 5 games at home, Ithaca's outscored, in their last 5 wins, that is instead. They've outscored opponents 76-28. That's nearly 15 goals a game right there. Graham Brady has it. Fresh face we haven't seen a lot of. Nearly a pass to Baker. Was looking for a one-timer. It gets past him. Bombers are able to recover in the far side corner. 20 seconds on the shot clock. How about Pastore? Pastore going the other way for Graham Brady. Dump underneath. Ball comes loose. Freed is fighting for it in net. He finally is able to put a trap on it and keep it with the Continentals. 4:22 to play. Hamilton leading 3-2.
The Continentals are doing a great job at putting a lot of bodies in front of the crease that prevents any sort of deflection off of a Bomber stick to go in. I think they're doing a really, really good job in protecting the net that way.
Hamilton taking their sweet time for the most part at the start of these offensive possessions. It's not been the first time we've seen them really drain all the way down in the shot clock. Rooney's here at X, nearly falls down. Defense close by Flanagan. Rotating around, good save there by Menard. He breaks it up and gives it back to the boys in white.
Seems like Menard didn't exactly know where the ball went. He kind of looked over his shoulder and then saw it behind the net, but good awareness for Menard to recover and put the ball back into play for the Bombers on offense.
Jared Sedlock able to stall things for just a moment and get things over to Kyle Savory. Bombers looking to work into their groove a little bit. It's been a long time since these two teams have faced each other. Personally, I was 2 years old. There's a chance that some people at this school weren't even born yet.
What was it, 2007?
2007, so maybe our next year's freshman class mostly weren't born.
So it was spring 2007. I was probably 2.5.
Johnny Lisi, a freshman on the call in the pregame. He was probably about just 1 year old when this happened.
He remembers it like it's yesterday.
Who wouldn't? A fantastic battle between Northeastern lacrosse powerhouses at the time. Hamilton working into their possession. 50 seconds on the shot clock with 2:30 to play. A pick comes, dump underneath. Delinsky trying to find something, goes wide with his shot and keeps it with the Continentals. Closest to the end there was DeBurgess.
So I think something important with the scheduling for Ithaca is they played mostly non-conference opponents. SUNY Geneseo, Widener University, Nazareth. They had their first Liberty League game against Vassar at home on Saturday, and they passed the test at Hagen Stadium. And after this game, except for the Cortland game on April the 16th, it is Liberty League games the rest of the way out.
A rip from about 15 yards. Will here was trying for it. Bounce shot blocked by Menard. He'll now trot it out of net and give what will likely be the second to last possession for the Bombers. Hamilton playing a good press, but Bombers are able to get the clear. It's past Story. He'll slow things down with 60 seconds on the shot clock and 1:40 on the game clock. First quarter nearly coming to an end. A quick start with a 3-2 score. But we haven't seen probably much in a little bit. Kyle Proctor, near side goal line extended, dumps off behind the net for Baker. Sam Baker looking for a teammate. Dishes back outside left wing. Pick set by Okino. Okino has it now, almost a pick and roll. Dumps off back to Baker at X. Baker behind the net. Moves to his left near goal side extended. Colin Adams was looking for the pass. It comes out. Rather Pastore. Pastore now straight away at the point. Ball gets stripped down. A great knockout by Jamie Wild. One of the better LSMs here on the turf. Ball's still loose. Okino trying to fight for it. That he finally gets to. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Whistle blown. It seems there may have been an injury, but instead a timeout by Coach Tommy Pierce. That'll be our first stoppage in this game. We've moved pretty fast to start, Morgan.
I think, yeah, exactly. It certainly has been a swift-moving first frame, and I think that's pretty much because both of these teams are willing to drain the shot clock, find the best shot possible. These are two very smart offensive teams. So if they win the draw, they're really, really adept at trying to create the best look possible to score, and it's 3-2 right now. And in terms of first quarter scoring on the season, I mentioned the high volume of goals in the last few games for the Bombers, outscoring their opponents by over 20 in the first quarter in the last 3 games. But they have only been outscored in the first quarter in one game before. That was by 1 goal all the way back on March 8th at home against Scranton, and the Bombers went on to win 15-10 behind an 8-1 third period blitzing. So I think it's really important for Hamilton to hold on to this lead through the last 52 seconds or so of this first quarter, because they've really made a statement. They've done great with ball control, and Ithaca's weakness is their turnovers. Even though they have forced more turnovers than they've turned over, it's pretty close. 157 to 153. It's pretty even, and if there's a spell of turnovers here in the first half, the game could get away from them because Hamilton's doing everything right.
Well, the Bombers now will only have 10 seconds. They'll begin things fast. How about Brady? Brady looking for a pass near side. Savory, he couldn't get to it. Hamilton now, 40 seconds on the game clock. They'll have about one more possession if they want it before the buzzer rings to signal the end of the first quarter. And now there'll be a timeout by head coach Scott Bernard. They're also going to take their time to really set things straight. Want to make sure they get the most out of this final possession.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a Hamilton team that is really coming in facing a hot Ithaca team. They have Ithaca's 5 wins in a row. They're undefeated at home, and meanwhile for Hamilton, they're at a 2-4 record, and they've only gone 1-3 in conference. So they did win their last game. So I think this is a really important game for Hamilton to get back on track, and I think they've had a really, really good first frame, but let's see if they can close it out.
Well, how deceiving can that record be, right? You're 2-4. You lost most of your last 3 games. Rather, you won your last game against Colby, but 3 straight losses to Amherst, Tufts, and Gettysburg. Those are teams that, you might think will be a little bit more competitive, but no, these are three of the best teams in the country. They lost by just 1 4 games ago to number 12 Amherst. Then it was the number 1 team in the country and the reigning national champions in Tufts. They only lost by 6. Now, that might sound like a lot, but a 14-8 score is really not a huge margin. And then, of course, Gettysburg, the number 8 team in the country, they only lost by 4 to them. So some very competitive games. They were leading at half against Tufts, against really good teams in this NESCAC slate. Gettysburg, not a NESCAC team, but still one of those squads that'll be a tough matchup. And that's really the deceiving part of it, because you see that 2-4 record, you don't think much, but then you look at their competition and explains a lot. So now 30 seconds to go in the first quarter. 65 seconds to play on the shot clock. It'll essentially be dark. Scores 3-2. Hamilton leading by 1. Dolinsky, he's rotating X, gets a good space to open up far side goal line extended. Slips underneath, doesn't like his shot, goes back out for Healy. Healy, a pass up top. Ball comes loose. It's going the other way. And a backfield violation, so the Bombers have it with 5 seconds to play. Okino inside finds Proctor a rip just high. 2.4 seconds on the clock. They'll have to make it really fast. And clock is about to start. Let's see what they do. Instead, hand it off the other way. That'll be the end of the first period between the Bombers of Ithaca and the Continentals of Hamilton. A 3-2 final score from the first period. Before we send things to a break from Higgins Stadium, Devin Jarvis, Morgan Spriggs will say so long for a couple minutes and be back for the second period coming up. We welcome you back to Higgins Stadium for the second quarter of play between the Continentals and the Ithaca Bombers. It was a 3-2 first period. This Hamilton team is showing a lot. Offensively, they've been able to pierce that Bomber defense, finding space by the net. On the other side, the Bombers' main struggle has come at the face-off circle. Here we are with Gillett and Hickey to square things off. The ball comes loose, chasing Art after the Bombers, and they're able to get it. So their first clean face-off win of the evening. Their only one to this point before then came off a penalty. So now they'll have their first chance to capitalize off a face-off win. Haven't had a ton of possessions to start. Devin Jarvis and Morgan Spriggs here on Bombers Network. And Ithaca's a little bit slow out to start. They've got an exceptional 6-0 record at home that they're looking to advance to now 7-0. But it's going to take a little bit more effort here in this second quarter if they want to reach that. Ethan Adrid will start the possession after the substitutions are made for the Bombers. He's able to find Okino. Just a week ago had 10 points and 6 goals. Now back to X. Okino has it, left wing, dodges to his left, trying to spin around. Good defense coming from Riley Keon. They're able to reset outside with Adrid. He steps outside the box, probably 30 yards away from the goal. Savory now, open the scoring today. Finds Okino near side goal line extended. Dodges, a swim, kicks to X. How's Kyle Proctor? 5 seconds on the shot clock. A rip from Madrid, bottom left. It will go out. No contact to the goalie or the net. So the possession concludes. Continentals moving left to right.
Again, both of these teams being very selective, but that strategy has not worked for Ithaca so far in terms of the first possession of this second quarter and trailing after the first period for only the second time all season.
Not a lot of shots to start. You're wanting to see a little more. They only have 6 today, 9 from the Continentals to begin.
The Continentals have really played as good of a first quarter against this Bomber team as you could have.
Continentals playing selective. They'll dump inside here. Top right score. A charge from Pearl from about midfield, and he makes the Bombers pay. 4-2 the scoring with 13 to play in the quarter. And just like that, that quick start that we saw at the beginning of the game is continuing here at the start of the second quarter.
That was his 9th goal of the season. The Continentals now lead 4-2.
A great start for Hamilton. They're looking for their 3rd win on the season. Started 2-4, 1-3 in conference play, and making this Bomber team undefeated in conference play, 7-2 overall. Struggle pretty mightily. Hickey's able to win the faceoff after the recent score. And now the Bombers back on the defensive side once again. They've made them pay quite a bit to start Hamilton. Pearl fresh off a goal. He has it far side. They're going to rotate around the horn behind the net to Will Here. Here pushing to his left. Ripping and scoring. What a shot from 10 yards out. No defenders in his way. They were kind of hugging him, but he's able to find a clear path with his stick. 5-2 the score. Ithaca down by 3 from Higgins Stadium.
Senior midfielder Will Here, his 9th goal of the year, 10 points overall, and it's now a 5-2 score early in the second quarter. The Bombers have to be feeling stunned. They really don't have these kinds of first half performances where they really come out flat.
Energy is low right now from the Bombers sideline. They're struggling at X and lose it once again. Hickey finding the better of Soul that time, and Ithaca just doing a poor job at the face-off circle to begin this game. Right now, 5 of 8. Rather, 6 of 9. So Hamilton will make their substitutions. 12 minutes and ticking here from Higgins Stadium in this first half. They've looked pretty unstoppable at the beginning of these 2 periods. Bombers looking for answers. Pearl, he'll charge down the right side from the point. Rotate behind the next, now go far side goal line extended for Coyle. Coyle dumping off underneath. The good move by Estep. He moves to his left, now behind the net. Ball comes loose, they'll recover. Dolinsky, near side goal line extended. Now to Here. Here from the right wing. Rotating up to the top alley. 20 seconds on the shot clock. No shot yet for Hamilton. How about a dump underneath? Looking for a pass. It wasn't there. Pearl was trying to get it. Bombers has a long stick here, and Schillick trying to move things across. That he will do. Can never be too sure with the Bulls. They're always going to want that pole goal, but not coming this time.
That's a really good turnover for the Bombers. Rather a takeaway that they forced. A turnover from Hamilton. They can't start to come back into this game until they've got possessions. And if they can't win it on the faceoff, getting a takeaway is the next best thing.
Bombers moving a little faster here. They're going to try a shot just 20 seconds into the shot clock. Pastore tried for it. He won't get it. Good save there by Freed in net. 10:30 now. And Ithaca kind of on the ropes in this second quarter. Hamilton taking their sweet time offensively. That's kind of been the mood we've seen from them, is that they're going to take things very slow, but be selective with their shots and take high percentage shots.
And by taking a lot of the shot clock down near to zero, it's also lessening the amount of possessions the Bombers have to come back into this game, now down by 3.
Still got a lot of lacrosse to play, though.
Of course.
40 minutes. But the main problem is Hamilton, it really isn't giving Ithaca many possessions because of how well they're playing at the faceoff circle. Healy will rotate things out. Find Pollock. Pollock dodging to his left. A cradle with only his left glove. Now to the far side. A push underneath. How about here's Kraus. Kraus going back outside. 10 seconds in the shot clock. A push underneath. Pollock by the net. Kicks back outside. Not much time here. A rip from way out. Ball will come loose. Good block by the Bombers. Shot clock expires and they'll get it. They've got some man-up advantage here. Ball will come loose for a moment. And that man-up advantage has dwindled now to just even men.
Yeah, they had a transition chance really after the shot clock the shot clock expiring, but the Bombers can't take advantage because they couldn't have the crisp passes needed to get it near the net.
Michael Gillen was trying to push him on the fast break, can't quite get it. How about Colin Adams? Bombers are going to take a little bit more shots here earlier into the shot clock. Coach Tommy Pierce wants them to be more aggressive. Kyle Proctor behind net, also alongside Ethan Adrid. A name we haven't seen today is Lucas Proctor, the point leader for the Bombers, as a shot's ripped by Adrid from a way far out, rather Rogers. It'll stay with Ithaca, but it seems Proctor's not going to be in this game today. A big loss for
100%. That's a huge loss. Double digits in goals and assists. That's a big, big loss for the Bombers, and it kind of shows why they haven't been able to score that much. That is a huge loss.
A big facilitator. It's funny how much a difference can be with just one player. Rogers on the cut, a good slip. Adams found him. He'll miss wide again. 6 seconds on the shot clock now. Proctor from the far side corner. He dodges to his right, gets a pick from Rogers, looking for a teammate. Dumps outside. Pastore, rather savory. Can't get it. Hits off the goalie and Freed. Ball will come loose, but a good forced turnover by Hamilton.
That was Devin. That was a chance, really, for the Bombers because Freed was on his backside. The entire right side of the net was vacated, but with the shot clock counting down, the Bombers couldn't set anything up.
Really little unforced errors to begin here. All circling back to the start of all of these possessions at the faceoff. Hamilton doing a good job. They'll rip a shot here by here. Will Here's 5-game goal streak for him. Got one today, so you can make it 6. All goal scorers to begin here for Hamilton. Different goal scorers. Ripped to the top right corner. Menard wasn't ready for it. He'll hit the post instead. Bombers kind of get away with one there.
But again, the shot clock resets because it hit the post, so another chance here for Hamilton to really grind down this IC defense.
They're really exhausting them, making them wait, testing their patience. Blinsky has it. Rips a pass to the far side. A shot by Pearl will be too high. No assists on any of the goals for Hamilton so far. It's kind of been an isolation game for Ithaca. Here, pushing to X. Finds a pass, looking for a dump by the net. It won't go. Pearl was close. Now Bombers trying to push in transition. It's Savory. Savory a dump to the near side. Bombers going to slow things down. They won't be aggressive early. Sam Baker, the midfielder, bringing things back outside to Pastore. Pastore now for Brady. Pastore gets it. A rip to the far side. Baker now underneath Rogers. Rogers towering at 6'4". Didn't like their look. They'll rotate back outside. Adams a push underneath. Now back for Okino. Okino an integral part of this offense. He was that way that last year, and that 10-point outbreak just a week ago probably solidified his position in this offense. Colin Adams pushing by the net. Shot is missed.
Again, the chances for the Bombers, they haven't been able to capitalize.
Not quite yet. Kyle Proctor now. Near side goal line extended. He rotates out. Doesn't have his brother to play with him today. The leading goal scorer for the Bombers. A rip around. How about that? Graham Brady from the far side out of nowhere.
That looked like a backhand. His back was to the goal, and I think he just flipped it over his shoulder. If that's true, what I saw, that was impressive by Graham Brady, and that's the kind of offensive creativity that this Bomber offense really relies on. But without Lucas Proctor, as we've mentioned, some of that is gone, but Brady there to pick up the slack, and all of a sudden it is a 2-goal game again. That was a really impressive play. Fantastic
shot. Bombers going to win the faceoff too, carrying that momentum. Rotate all the way back to Menard in net. And now the Bombers make a push. Menard only a 6.66 goal average, but a turnover. Costly one. Bombers unforced will hand things back over to the Continentals in royal blue.
That was the 7th turnover committed by the the 6th turnover committed by the Bombers. That's tied for Hamilton, so that kind of goes with the season-long trend of the turnovers by Ithaca versus their opponent being quite even.
Bombers rank 3rd in the Liberty League in turnovers per game. 17.5, that's the 3rd fewest. Other side, Hamilton. They're 5th in turnovers. Pushing all the way around. Hamilton has possession. They're going to take things slow like they have all times before. Kind of put them in a position to not find a quality shot at the end if they're just waiting, though. 4:16 to play in the first half. 27 seconds on the shot clock. It's Pollock. Near side goal line extended. A far pass outside. Trying to push down. Bombers playing solid defense in these past few minutes. 10 seconds on the shot clock. A push back out. How about Healy? Gets a pick. 2 Bombers swarm him. Rotating around. Shot comes up. Menard pokes it loose. Ball's still out. Who's closest to it? Ithaca.
One of the best plays that Menard has had all game long. He seems to be more aware in the net as the night goes on.
Menard doing a solid job, as he always does. Just needs to find his groove. Defense around him, too. Hasn't really been there. Clean shots coming against the junior goalie. 3:30 now to play in the second quarter, and Ithaca down by 2. They're going to need a goal here if they want to get themselves just a step closer before the end of the half. We'll start with Ethan Adrid, near side corner. He pushes to his left on the wing. Now finds Savory. Savory to Adams. Adams with his back to the net. Back to Savory on the left wing. Puts his heels at the box. Now pushes back inside. Has a lane. Goes for Proctor at X. Proctor holds it above. Surveying. Finds Adams once again with 22 seconds on the shot clock. Bombers taking their sweet time here. How about Okino? Back outside for Adrid. Adrid pushing underneath. Goes for Proctor. Proctor to Adams. Adams looking for a lane. 10 on the shot clock. Shot comes wide. It'll be with Ithaca to continue. Tim Rogers now, the far back corner. 5 seconds on the shot clock. He's pushing left. Needs a teammate to dump to. Nearly had Savory. That one won't be it. And Hamilton gets it back.
Again, the offense hasn't really been there as much as in previous games for the Bombers. But again, Hamilton's 2-4 record is deceiving. They've really played a lot of close games, and it showed tonight.
How about Hamilton? They're moving things fast here. Get it all the way to X. Just 20 seconds into their shot clock. 2 minutes left to play in the second quarter. And the Bombers, not a lot of answers on offense especially. They've been able to be pretty sound on defense after a rough start in this second quarter. Pollock has it. He's charging to his right. Gets it over to the other side for here. Here's still looking for a teammate. He rotates to X, now back outside for Healy. Healy dodges left against Sedlock. Doesn't like his chance. Back to the far side. 20 seconds to play in the shot clock. And a penalty called. Bombers get it.
That's a big sequence there for the Bombers in getting it back. And now they're going to try to cut it to a one-goal game.
They're going to move fast. Sedlock by the net gets knocked away. And just like that, it's Hamilton who has it again. They were trying to make a point there on the fast break. We saw them deny their chances on a fast break before. This time they try it, they do not succeed. And after Hamilton takes it into their O zone, they'll call a timeout, shot clock dark with a minute to play.
Timeout, Hamilton. They lead by 3.
And Morgan, we've seen quite the defensive effort from Hamilton today. No goals in this second quarter. Rather, just one goal in the second quarter from Ithaca. I mean, when you're looking at what the Bombers have to do to maybe find their footing back offensively, what do you point to?
Well, what I will say is I think the Bombers have played better in this second period. Even though it's still a 5-3 game, and they've been outscored in this period. They've had more shots on goal. They have won the same amount of faceoffs as Hamilton rather than the first period when they really got beat handily in that category. Hamilton has had more turnovers. So the Bombers, if they can keep doing what they're doing and in the next 56.2 seconds, if they can get a goal to cut it to a one-goal game, that will do a lot for their confidence, I think.
Well, let's see if they can do it. They'll have to get a stop quick, which would be hard. Scott Bernard, in his 19th year at Hamilton, has brought this team to 3 straight playoffs in the last 3 seasons, made their way to the semifinals just a year ago. You know how competitive the NESCAC is. You can get into the playoffs with a 4-6 conference record. How many sub-500 teams do you see in your conference typically around the country in Division III? Not many. But now, Hamilton, with one of their final out-of-conference games of the season, will look to set things with their print on Higgins Stadium. 5-3 the score, 1 minute to play. The Continentals, if they want it, it's the last possession of the game. They can drain it out.
And given their style, it seems likely that that's what they'll do. They want to limit the amount of possessions Ithaca has. They don't want them to get anything right before the half.
They're taking things quite slow. Estep may be pacing back and forth to his left and right, 3 steps at most. Dolinsky. He has it far side goal line extended all the way in the corner behind the net. He's pushing against Marr. From X, he rotates it back outside to here. Here all the way at the edge of the sideline, near side goal line extended. Now a pass to the top of midfield. Pearl charging down to his left. Doesn't like his shot, spins out, and defaults with Healy. 8 seconds on the game clock. How about a final push here by Hamilton? Dolinsky spins around, looking for a pass, can't get it. Ball comes loose, travels all the way to the penalty boxes at midfield, and that will end things here in the first half of play between Hamilton and Ithaca.
Hamilton 5, Ithaca 3.
Yeah, I think honestly, I think Hamilton, I'm not saying they didn't want to score, But the way that possession started, it's more like we don't want Ithaca to score. We want to take a 2-goal lead, perhaps 3-goal lead going into half. And I think that's their Hamilton strategy. They're really, really playing a defensive style of game. And I know this kind of sounds like contradictory, but that kind of leads to the goals that we're seeing today. So this is going to be really, really good second half between Bomber team that wants to stay undefeated at home and a Hamilton team that wants to make a statement on the road.
Let's see how it shakes out. 30 minutes of play coming up in just about 10 minutes from now. But first, we'll send things to a break, and we'll have Anthony Labonte and Johnny Lisi at your halftime reports. So stay tuned here to Bombers Sports Network. We'll be back in just a moment.
Welcome back to Higgins Stadium here for the halftime show between the Ithaca Bombers and the Hamilton Continentals here for men's lacrosse, where right now Ithaca is currently down 5-3 as Hamilton takes the lead in what may not have seemed as what an expectation you'd have for this team.
Yeah, this is not what I thought going into the game for Ithaca. They scored 2 goals in the first and only 1 goal in the second. So this is not the high-powered offense early in the game that we've seen from the Bombers during the season. And I want to look at some statistics, because this is really what, in my opinion, is surprising. Yes, Hamilton is up by 2, but it feels like a lot more, because what Hamilton also has is the momentum. Shots. Hamilton has 15 shots. Ithaca has 14 shots on goal. The Bombers and the Continentals are tied. So it's a very even game when you look at shots and shots on goal, but on the scoreboard, the Continentals are essentially dominating.
Anthony Labonte, Johnny Lisi here for the halftime show. Now, we were saying about those goals. One of the things that was big for Hamilton was how in succession they got some of those goals. They had the first goal of the game by Wyatt Estep, and then they had the man-up advantage where Trabolsi got up to nothing. However, the Bombers didn't stop there. They had Kyle Savory score a goal. The man that you said needed to be big today, he scored to make it 2-1 game, and Tim Rogers decided to go unassisted to get the second one in the back of the net for the Bombers before Carson Cross made it 3-2 at the end of the first period, which is the first time the Bombers have been, or it's the second time this season the Bombers have lost a first quarter since that game in Scranton, which they ended up winning that one. This one a little bit tighter.
I really like that stat that Morgan brought up, and I think if I'm not mistaken, the Bombers have only allowed like 1 goal in the first quarter. So really for Ithaca, that's really surprising, because they've been so dominant early on. And you look at it, you compare kind of apples to apples here for Hamilton and Vassar. Vassar is a little bit of a better team, and Ithaca still beat Vassar 7-0 at the end of the first quarter. And that's a very solid Brewers team. The Continentals were up 3-2. So Hamilton is really just enforcing their will. We talked about it a little bit in depth in the pregame show. Hamilton's more of a defensive style. Ithaca scores a lot of goals, and Hamilton is enforcing their will with a very strong defensive performance.
Well, the second quarter was where it kept going. Justin Pearl got the 4th goal of the game for the Continentals before Will Heurer, just 34 seconds later, ended up scoring the 5th. And Graham Brady put it a little bit closer with 5 minutes and 23 seconds left as he got the 3rd for Ithaca, making it this 5-3 game that we see here. Like you were saying, Ithaca so far, they've been getting stopped. Let's just say their running gun style of offense has been stuffed each and single time, and the Continentals, in turn, have been using their time on the shot clock, running it down, just breaking it down and keeping the ball in Hamilton possession.
Yeah, this is a really great game by the Continentals. Head coach Scott Bernard has a lot of really solid film to go over that this Hamilton team can use in NESCAC play and be proud of. Hamilton, you look at the two leagues, like we said, NESCAC, Liberty League. The NESCAC is kind of the level of competition, a little bit less than you're going to see in the Liberty League. So if Ithaca is struggling here against the Continentals, it raises some little concern for down in the Liberty League season, especially against teams like RPI and Union coming up on the horizon.
One of the big things that Morgan and Devin brought up during the game here was the faceoffs and how Ithaca has generally been winning their faceoffs more often than not this season. However, tonight, 6 wins for Hamilton, 4 for Ithaca. How have the faceoffs been just a crucial aspect of this entire game?
Well, it's been crucial because, one, Chris Soule is 3 for 7, and that is not typical, but Reese Hickey for the Continentals is 4 for 5. So those are great statistics for Hamilton's faceoff guy. But really, you win a faceoff and you automatically win the momentum because you get to start an offensive possession. So on most of the faceoffs after Hamilton scored a goal, they also won the faceoff. So they're continuing momentum. You know, it's not like basketball where you score and the other team gets the ball and it rotates. It is entirely based off of how good your defense is and how good your FOCO is. And Ithaca is really struggling in the circle, and I think that's got to be one of head coach Tommy Pierce's big talking points at halftime is getting more cohesive offensive possessions and winning the faceoff.
Ithaca's Andrew Menard, although he has let up 5 goals today, had some big saves there, especially one when in the first period where he got down just straight on his knees to block it.
Yeah.
So those have been big saves. However, the Bombers are still losing. How does the rest of the defense need to step up in this second half?
Well, Ithaca is surprisingly winning in the ground balls category, 13-11, and that's very surprising, but they just need to, the best defense sometimes is a good offense, because if you play a good offense, you don't really need to play as much defense. So Ithaca, I think really the key, the defense needs to step up. Andrew Menard has been doing all he can, but the offense really, really needs to do better here in this second half. I mean, in that Brockport game, Anthony, the passing was absolutely spectacular. They were moving the ball really well, and Morgan said it, the Bombers are just looking flat, and there's no two ways about it. This is a very uncharacteristic performance, especially here at Higgins Stadium. Offense needs to play a little bit better, more cohesive passing, and the Bombers just kind of need to snap right into it. The time's running out.
So a little less than a minute and a half here until we get to the second half of action. Johnny, you gave your prediction at the beginning of the show of the day here with the score. Does that change at all now that we enter halftime 5-3 and Hamilton's been such dominance on offense?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think the Bombers are going to put up 14 goals in the second half. So I'm going to go with Hamilton 11 and Ithaca 8. I think the Continentals have been really solid, so I'm kind of flipping everything about the pick. I had a little bit more of a high-scoring pick, and I picked Ithaca. Now I think it's going to be a little bit low-scoring, and the Hamilton Continentals will pull through.
So a switch-up of leaders given by Johnny Lisi. The Bombers are looking for a switch-up of leaders in the true game here. Anthony Labonte, Johnny Lisi here for the halftime show. We're going to call it here. We're going to send it to the second half where Morgan Spriggs and Devin Jarvis will take you the rest of the way. Stay tuned.
Back here on Bomber Sports YouTube. A quick start to the second half of play. Bombers up 5-3, and Morgan, take it away.
Yeah, thanks, Devin. This has been a really, really strong first half so far for Hamilton, and they're trying to keep it up here. The draw controls have been led by Hamilton. Same thing with the score, and they've really taken their time. And here they are with possession here to start out the third quarter, and they score! Right away, first possession into the second half. It is 6-3 Hamilton.
Quick start for Hamilton. We've seen them every time at the start of these periods. They've been able to figure Ithaca out. It almost goes back to their coaching. How can Coach Scott Bernard, in his 15th year, assistant as well as Cam Stone, be able to impact this game? We've seen them every time at the start be able to figure Ithaca out, Morgan.
Fight for the ball on the draw, and Ithaca comes away with it, and they pass it back to the midline, and the ball comes loose, and it's picked up by Ithaca. And here they go now down by 3 goals, and then they turn it over. And it is taken away by Hamilton. Here in the opening minutes of the third quarter here on Bomber Sports from Higgins Stadium. Hamilton waiting for something to develop in terms of substitutions. They love to take their time with the shot clock.
That they do, and really it's been proven pretty well for them. They've been able to waste a lot of Ithaca's time. They've been able to make it pretty difficult to defend because you don't know when they're going to strike. They have a lot of unpredictability, Morgan.
Behind the cage and to the near side. And making a charge and going to his right is Estep. Estep flips it to the right side. Shot clock inside 30. Hamilton being very selective with their shots. It is chipped behind the net and to the front. Bombers have bodies in front, and the shot deflects off the stick of Menard, who went low for it, and it trickles out of play with 15 to shoot.
I think originally that was a good defensive play by Marr. He was able to disrupt it, make it difficult for Hamilton, and that's something that we've been missing today is that defensive unit of the Bombers.
Off the inbound, here's Hamilton. Inside 10 to shoot. There's a drive, and it goes behind the net and out, and the shot clock is stopped with 5. There's a rip a little low, and it's knocked away. The shot there by Pearl, and here come the Bombers trying to pick up the ball in their defensive zone. And they do, and they're working it down the field. They're on the far side. Trying to send it into the left side. Bombers down 6-3 here. Trying to stay undefeated at home, but they're being tested right now. Passing it up here for the Bombers. Number 27, Cullen Adams. Adams still has it. Moving to his left. And then gave it back up. This Bomber team just trying to get back in it.
Yeah, they need to find their offensive identity soon, Morgan. A lot of passing is usually what we see, able to open up angles just through ball movement. They've tried that today, but Hamilton holding strong.
Madrid fed it back to Kyle Proctor. Proctor turns, gives it a drive, and it's stopped. Nice stop there by Freed. And Hamilton, who was doubling up Ithaca 6-3, gets the ball.
And Ithaca leaving most of their goals, or shots rather, on goal, but pretty easy to scoop up for the most part. Freed hasn't had to work super hard today. A lot of the shots that are coming to him are straightforward. And for that reason, Ithaca is going to need to find more creative ways to find and put more difficult shots onto the Continental's defense. They haven't really done that so far. On the other side, this Hamilton team, when they have a shot that's on goal, it's going in the net 66% of the time. Only 3 saves right now for Andrew Menard in net.
Here's Kraus going behind the net. Again, the selective Continentals. Still keeping it. Pollock darts inside. Pollock waits, flips it behind the net. Back out up top on the box. On the spin inside. Score! Another goal for Hamilton. They have stunned this Ithaca team. 2 goals to start the third quarter. It is 7-3.
The worst thing you can do is underestimate a team on the ropes. This Hamilton team hasn't started this poorly since the 2018 season when they started 2-4 as well. And what they need to do right now is continue to show why they're the top team on this field. Hamilton has had all the answers so far, especially at the start of these periods, and the Bombers not able to respond with really anything offensively.
Bombers do come away with the draw, and the ball comes loose, and a takeaway for Hamilton. And then it comes free again, and as a scramble for it, Ithaca trying to get possession, and they do. They charge up front, but they don't have enough numbers, and it's swatted away. Messy carnage on the field, and coming away with it is Hamilton as they look to reset. Up 4 goals.
How about the yard sale? Really just
Right.
exceptional stuff from this Hamilton defense all night, Morgan.
Pino to the center circle, and he substitutes out. Backpedaling is here. And in no rush, the Continentals, Justin Pearl had a handle along midfield. Working on the right side, then behind, then to the near side. Jolting in is here. Traffic in front of the net, but Hamilton trying to get a good look. Flipped back out onto the near side. On the stick of Justin Pearl. Pearl races, flips it behind, 20 to shoot. 9 minutes to go, third quarter. Hamilton up 4, looking to add on here. Here's the flip around, and it got deflected. It went out of play, and it'll be 10 seconds to shoot when they put it back in play. Hamilton still with possession here in the third quarter. Starts running. That shot clock down to 4. Up at the top, it got deflected, and Pearl sends one wayward and far out of bounds. So good possession for Ithaca defensively as they look to get back into the game if they can get a draw control.
They're going to need to score here. Really, I mean, you look at the final portion of this game, and it's going to come through putting pressure offensively and winning your faceoffs. That hasn't been the way so far.
Starting down the left side is Okino. The Bombers trailed at the end of the first quarter for just the second time all season, and that's been a harbinger of some troubles here at Higgins Stadium. Taking their time, down to 45 to shoot. Trying to flip one in, but instead goes behind the cage. To the near side here, working with it is Jack Pastore. Pastore gave it up. Moving to his left is Okino. Back up top. On the stick of Brady. And it gets deflected, and it goes off to the right. Now to play, 15 to shoot. Ithaca immediately looking to put it back in play. And they do. Down by 4. 10 to shoot. Twisting inside, try for a cross shot. And no, the ball is still loose. And the shot clock resets, and Hamilton takes it away up 4.
What a save by Freed. He comes out of the net, kind of leaves his post, and makes an excellent save. How often are you able to see a guy with that much confidence in the defense around him to just be able to trust yourself and make, a save that if you don't make, it's going in the net? That's how close those two were at the end of that possession. Great stuff from Hamilton again.
In no rush, Carson Kraus handling it to begin the possession. South of 7 minutes to go, third quarter. It's Kraus. Starting, stopping, and turning back to his left. Sends a shot in, and it goes out of bounds. 34 on the shot clock. Ripped one in, and a nice save that made by Menard, Andrew Menard. then finds his nearest teammate, it being Jake Docks, the junior, who brings it up.
Bombers defense coming up, showing a little life. That's the one side that we've seen really step up. They're averaging about 6.6 goals per game or just around that. Or rather, 10 goals a game, but with Menard in net, it's only around 7. So you're on pace right now, or on that mark at least. Just how can you allow your offense to respond? You're without Lucas Proctor. He's such a big portion. But you got to find a way to have somebody step up and fill those shoes of a facilitator.
With the ball is Kyle Savory. Savory sends it back towards the left side. Bombers down by 4 goals. They have not scored in this second half so far. Waiting for something to develop behind the net. Try to curl it back in front. On the charge inside. Gillum didn't like what he saw. And Freed gets a stick to it, and it goes out of bounds with 9.
Good little one-timer, but still you can't just settle for these shots. You got to get a little better looks. Hamilton is just structuring their defense so well.
Final seconds here on the shot clock. It goes high. 2 seconds. And that will do it for that possession. The Bombers come up empty again. (7-3). Hamilton on top of Ithaca. The Bombers undefeated at home, riding a 5-game win streak, and both of those stretches are in jeopardy right now. Out of their defensive zone comes Hamilton. Past the midline on the stick of Dolinsky. Again, no rush. The Continentals playing smart, limiting errors. Waiting for the opportunity to present themselves to further put nails in Ithaca's coffin. Justin Pearl moves right and sends it closer to the net. On the stop and back pedal. Physical defense by the Bombers. They try to force a takeaway, and they do. And here they come, and they flip it towards midfield. Try to get something in transition. But now everybody catches up, and taking his time to back it out is Brendan Aquino. Substitutions here for both schools. Nearly 4 minutes to go in the third quarter.
Nearly had a backfield violation there.
Yeah. Bombers really not pressing towards the net until now. Skating through center. Whip one in. It went hooked off to the right. And it goes out of bounds with 43. Rip one in, and going diving for it is Freed. And it goes out of play again. 35 on the shot clock. Working with it is Mayer. Or rather, excuse me, Proctor. Bombers trying to get anything going offensively. Being bumped and taking it back out is Savory. Inside 10 to shoot. Bombers haven't really gotten a good look on net until then, and then Free knocks it away. Ball is still loose. Trickles further out from the net, and Ithaca picks it up and gets a new shot clock.
Yeah, good recovery by Ithaca. Almost one of their better shots of the day. They're putting a little bit more pressure on Freed right now. The captain in net has done phenomenal and really not letting anything pass.
That recovery was there by Ethan Adrid to pick it up and get a new possession for the Bombers. Scoreless in this third quarter. It bounces out of play on a pass, I believe. I don't think that was a shot. 35 on the shot clock, 2:43 to go, and counting in the third quarter. Bombers down 7-3. They've been outscored 2-0 in this third quarter here at Higgins Stadium on a chilly late March evening.
It's loud Hamilton bench putting
yes.
some pressure.
Moving to his right and going behind the net with the pass there is Adams. 10 on the timer. Can Ithaca get anything? Off to the left, Freed knocks it away. And Ithaca comes up empty again.
These poles from Hamilton are the bedrock of what has allowed them to succeed in this game. They're not getting anything passed around the net. And a pole goal. Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
How many times do you see that? Jamie Wild's third goal of the year, and
It's a disaster for the Bombers for that to happen.
In a guy like Jamie Wild, he's
Yeah.
An LSM, but still have been able to put a couple goals on the season. Just a rip, and it goes
Yes.
back to the fact that when you're putting a shot on net against Andrew Menard today, it's going in about 80% of the time, which is not a figure that you would like to be if you're Menard. You want to be a little bit more structured than that, but still, they've put them in some really tough spots to save. And that's what you got to recognize.
98, Jade Wild.
Wild with a wild goal, you could say. And now Hamilton increases their lead to 5. Ball goes out of bounds after Hamilton wins another draw.
The draws today, domination. It doesn't really seem like it. 8-14. 8 of 14 Hamilton has won. A lot of those that they haven't won have been off turnovers later in the draw or penalties.
Here comes Ithaca. Moving it past center. Final minute and change of this third quarter, and it has been less than ideal for the Bombers. On the stutter step and drive inside, there, number 25, Pastori. Fling it behind the net, then in front, going high, score! The Bombers get one back on their next possession. It is now 8-4.
And that's what you have to do. And Tim Rogers is the tallest player on this field. Probably rivals the players with the poles in the net with how big he is. He could be a defender easily, but what he brings offensively is he can see over all of his defenders. So what he does right there, he's able to get a pass from X, an easy shot, an easy score. That's a shot that you needed to score. It was almost a one-on-one with Freed. He gets it done in a clutch moment. This game's not out of reach for Ithaca.
Rogers with a crucial goal. Ball comes loose in the Ithaca offensive zone. Fight for it, and coming away with it is Hamilton. Little sloppy with the ball there.
Bombers turned their back right as the ball came loose. If they were still on defense, they probably could have caused a turnover.
Inside 40 seconds in this third quarter, and it's loose. Fight for it. Ithaca trying to get a turnover. It doesn't happen.
They've got to recover here, though. A lot of their players to the sideline, and Hamilton will slow things down.
20 seconds on the game clock in the third frame. Hamilton looking to cap off a fantastic penultimate quarter of regulation. On the wraparound. Being bumped. Sent it back in. And I believe we have a flag thrown with 1.2 on the game clock in the third.
Yeah, penalty coming. Healy tried for the back-to-back right by the net. That'll be a penalty against the Bombers that will transfer over here into this fourth quarter with only a second to play left in the third. That's what it seems to be. Just a tough run right now for Ithaca.
8-4, the third quarter. We will take a quick break and be back. Let's see if Ithaca can come back in this fourth quarter. Back here for the fourth quarter. Alongside Devin Jarvis, I'm Morgan Spriggs here from Higgins Stadium. And Devin, what do you think the Bombers need to do to try and come back in this fourth quarter, down 4 goals?
Well, I think it starts with the mental game. Have a little bit more confidence in your squad. Defensively, they've looked rock solid once you get under 10 minutes in each quarter. I believe they haven't allowed a single goal, maybe just one goal rather, that pull goal from Jamie at the end there, from Jamie Wild. But other than that, they've been exceptional defensively. They need to translate that momentum into offense. Right now they haven't been able to score, so they don't feel like they're high with confidence. But once they get that done, I feel good about how they can play offensively. Starts with the defense, though.
Here's Hamilton.
Especially at the start of these possessions, start of these quarters. 7 goals all come in these first 5 minutes.
Whip it behind the net, and it goes behind number 19, Lucchini. But he picks it up, and Hamilton recovers. Setting it behind the net there is Dolinsky. Back up top. Dolinsky dropped it, turns around his right shoulder, then doubles back to his left. Got the return feed to the crease, around the goal. In close quarters, Menard trying with the stop, and he knocks it away and out of bounds.
Yeah, great job by Menard to stay composed. He kind of tunnel visions on the shooter, but it ends up paying well for him.
Hamilton still with the ball. Here up 8-4.
And there the penalty finishes a minute in.
The flag came late in that third quarter with about 1 2/10 of a second. To the near side and waiting. Again, the slow pace of Hamilton has done wonders for them all game long, and trying to drag out another long possession with a score. And they do! 9-4 Hamilton. And a great start to the fourth quarter in a game where they started fabulously. And it is Thomas Healy with the tally. Another goal for him. That makes 14 on the year. The junior attacker makes it a 5-goal game as the Bombers, they're fighting, but Hamilton is punching right back and punching harder.
And Healy gets his third of the day as well. He leads the field in that category.
So a hat trick for him. 9 goals overall for Hamilton, and the Bombers have been stymied so far, but here they go, getting the ball back as the draw was contested. Bombers with space. Savory. Now it is Adams. It goes up high, and it's taken by Freed.
And I would have liked to see a higher percentage that shot there from the Bombers. Of course, you're down by 5. You got to kind of be a little bit more aggressive, but you're not putting too much of a challenge for Jack Freed right now, and that's what you have to do if you want to come back in this game.
12 and a half minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Can the Bombers come down 5? Just have to watch and find out. Here's Hamilton. To the end line. Then back up top on the back pedal, it's Troy Pollock, senior attacker. Pollock fed one in, and Menard makes the save and immediately starts an offensive push.
How can the Bombers develop this possession and open up to find high-quality shots? Last time, they kind of clustered X, and you had Rogers open about at that 12-meter arc if you're looking at the women's field dimensions. And for the other side, Ithaca is going to have to look at that similarly and develop a possession where you can find open lanes and score. That's not going to do it, though. A turnover is not very good here.
An errant pass out of bounds on the left side. Hamilton picks it up, not only with the momentum, not only with the lead, but really with everything going their way. And they're playing better than the Bombers. It's been clear. Taking it past the midline is Jesse Dolinsky.
This is a team that's been well underestimated by I think everyone at Higgins Stadium today. You really cannot be too sure with these NESCAC teams. And listen, it's not going to be a conference loss if they do end up losing this game, but it will affect potentially their chances at an at-large bid. Because you look at this entire schedule, you've got some tough teams. So if you don't win the conference, but you can beat teams like RPI or Union, maybe St. Lawrence, RIT is going to be tough too, but that'll give you a way better chance at an at-large. This loss here probably pushes you a little further out of that conversation.
30 on the shot clock. Pass goes off to the left, and it'll be Bomber possession. Ithaca wearing the whites. Hamilton in the royal blues. As the sky has turned black throughout the game. Substitutions being made as Ithaca has possession. 10 and change to go. They're waiting for the right people to get on and off the field. And now finally they can start something up with Ethan Adrid handing it off to Cohen Adams. Freed goes off to the side of the net trying to pick it up, and he does. The ball comes loose. Ithaca doesn't get a shot, and it's a takeaway for Hamilton.
And these unforced errors, just really not acceptable. I think when I talked to Coach Tommy Pierce last week, it was talking about those little things and eliminating the little mistakes, Morgan. They haven't really done that today. They've not been able to find success in draws. They've not been able to find success in limiting turnovers and also giving up easy goals.
This Hamilton bench has been vocal all game long, really connected with their teammates on the field. On the spin around, and a nice save made by Menard. That was a rip.
Yeah, there's the Menard we usually see. He's really struggled today, an atypical game for him.
His offense hasn't helped out, though, only 4 goals.
I think you can live with allowing 9 goals in a game.
Usually with this Bomber offense, they do most of the heavy lifting.
Yeah,
it's been anything but.
They're averaging 11 goals a game, so theoretically you're okay with 9, but this Hamilton defense is really, really strong. Ranked 3rd in the entire NESCAC in goals allowed per game. That's what's been able to keep them in these matches. You know, you're limiting Tufts to just 14. You're limiting Gettysburg to 10, Amherst to 9.
Score! Ithaca gets one back. Top shelf into the right corner. Past the left shoulder of Freed. It is now 9-5. And Kyle Savory, the graduate student defender, with another goal on his great season.
You don't want it to be too little too late, though, so win this face-off. Gillick at the center circle here. He's going to have to get this one and move things faster for the Bombers. 8 minutes to go, but, you know, every time Hamilton's going to get that possession back, they're going to take all 80 seconds off the clock.
A fight for it. It's unclear who has it now. Popped up in the air for a bit. Still loose. Still fighting. And who has it? A pinball. And I believe Ithaca trying to scoop it up. It was out of bounds. The officials whistle it, and they are going to grant possession to Ithaca. Substitutions here for the Bombers as Kyle Proctor gives it up to his teammate Kyle Savory, who just scored the last goal. The Bombers trying to climb out of a hole here. Seven and a half minutes to go. Ithaca down 4. Here in Bomber Sports with Devin Jarvis, I'm Morgan Spriggs. Here with you on a Tuesday night.
They're going to need the comeback right now.
They need to maximize every possession. They can go slow now, but not for long. Shot clock is at 30. Freed with his stick high in the air, awaiting a shot here. Behind the cage. On the back up top to the box. Physical defense for Hamilton here as Adams has it.
Flags are thrown, though. Take a shot now. You're going to keep the possession.
And the shot goes wayward, out of bounds as it went to the left side, and Freed on a knee dove after it and maybe touched it a little bit. But a flag here, and possession will stay with Ithaca.
Yeah, it'll be a 30-second penalty against Peter Cantorino. I mean, Ithaca's going to have to try and make something of this. Their first man-up situation of the game, Morgan.
Yeah, Hamilton's done a really good job at really limiting the penalties, limiting the mistakes, limiting the turnovers. And then we got another whistle as the Bombers tried to start that possession with 6:40 on the clock.
Just needed one more possession. Coach Scott Bernard wanted to make sure that they had all the correct defenders on the field there, especially in a man down. Now, how can they pierce this defense? It's been kind of a invisible ring that Ithaca's not been able to travel into by the net so far today.
Down by 4, trying to cut it to 9-6. Can they do it? It's Adrid. Send it around. Adrid got it from Giannuzzi.
Great movement.
Score! Back-to-back goals for the Bombers. Going low. Freed couldn't handle it. The momentum is back just a little bit. It is 9-6, and scoring there is Jack Pastore, the senior forward. And the man-up goal makes it a 3-goal game.
It almost felt like a fake pass there. Wasn't a frozen rope. It was almost a lob in. And sometimes that's all you need to throw Freed off his game. Maybe he's really good against the difficult shots and not as good against some more meatballs, you could say. And now another win at the face-off circle. Can they hold on to it? No.
Yep. Hamilton, again, taking advantage of the opportunities they have. When the Bombers cough it up, put it on the ground just for a second, Hamilton seizes the opportunity. And they are trying to knock off the Bombers at home for the first time all season and snap their 5-game victorious streak. And winning every possession basically takes a minute off the clock, if not more. And Hamilton is more than willing to drain this clock down. And Ithaca at some point may need to get desperate and start trying to force turnovers, be more aggressive with their defense here. Flip it to the near side. Being trailed there is Rogers. Or rather, it's Lucchini, excuse me. To the far side corner, then up top. 5 minutes to go. And the shot clock reset. It must have went out of bounds here. Hamilton trying to hold on to a 3-goal lead that was once 5 just a few minutes ago, but the Bombers got a couple back. Last one on a man-up goal by Jack Pastore. To the end line. What will Hamilton do? They're trying to put the final nail in Ithaca's coffin. Doesn't happen there, and it goes out of bounds with 18 on the shot clock. Can Ithaca's defense hold on and try and get a possession back here? Spinning around there, Dolinsky. And making the save is Menard. Menard going behind the net, spins, then feeds it almost laterally. Gets the return pass, but can't go very far, so...
Yeah, good save there by Menard, but the Bombers now are not only going to have to score here, but score and get a possession. I think a timeout by Coach Tommy Pierce. That's a good one,
Yep.
And I'll tell you why, because with 4 minutes to go, 80 seconds is going to be drained off the shot clock as soon as Hamilton gets a possession. You know that for a fact. Unlikely that the Bombers get a forced turnover, so they're going to have to make good of these possessions and win their face-offs. We haven't seen them do that consistently they're going to have to kind of flip that script of what we've
Right.
seen so far in this game if they want to come back, Morgan.
It's been a good effort by the Bombers in the last few minutes, but is it too late? We will just take a short break here, under 4 minutes to go here on Bomber Sports. Be with you in a second. Just inside 4 minutes to go from Higgins Stadium. After a Tommy Pierce timeout, Bomber possession down by 3 goals, and they need to maximize every chance they can get because Hamilton loves to draw the shot clock really, really low and minimize these chances. So let's see what Ithaca can do with it. Moving laterally to his right, Sam Baker. Let's see what Ithaca has drawn up off that timeout. Behind the net. Very careful with the passing here. Ithaca doesn't want to turn it over. Spinning on the right side. Behind the twine. And almost taken away here. Nice scrappy play to try and get it back here.
15
for
seconds
the
on the shot
Bombers.
clock now, though, Morgan. They've got to move fast.
Doc 6 on the recovery, but what can they do? On the wraparound. Freed, waiting, stops it.
Tried for the Michigan, can't get it. And not only do you drain your entire shot clock out, but now the other side, Hamilton's going to do the same.
Ithaca is going to have to get desperate and try and force some takeaways and get some goals quick. But time is running out inside 3 minutes to go from Higgins Stadium on the campus of Ithaca College. 2.5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. And Hamilton is just passing it back and forth. I don't really think they're interested in scoring here because that means the Bombers can get a save and start a possession here.
Morgan, they're not. I wouldn't say they're not interested in scoring, but
yeah.
their goal right now is to just waste as much time as possible.
Yeah, let me rephrase that. I'm not saying they don't want to score. I'm just saying their main goal, I would think, is to have a shot with as little time on the shot clock as possible. And if they don't score, that's okay because we're under 2 minutes to go now, and they have a 3-goal lead. Rip out wide to the right, out of bounds, 12 to shoot.
Not a shot I love. Chance you give the possession away right there, not worth it.
It's counting down the shot clock. Deflects out of play, 5 to shoot.
Now Hamilton brings in their defense. They're essentially just going to let this one go out. And a timeout called.
Timeout Hamilton, there's 1:45 left here in the fourth quarter.
We will take a quick break. Right after this timeout, let's see how it all finishes from the South Hill. Final 2 minutes, in fact, under 2 minutes, 1:45 to go in the fourth quarter, and Hamilton trying to hold on to that 3-goal lead. They have possession with 5 seconds on the shot clock, and they may be content to just let it run out here. As Devin mentioned before, they have their defense out on the field. They try to get a shot off way wide to the right.
Little pole goal attempt again by Jamie Wild. Had one before. All right, now you're the Bombers. You got 1:30 left. These shots have to come early in the shot clock. You cannot settle. You got to be aggressive.
100%, completely agree. To the far side. Got to put something on net here. Pass was a little low, and we have a whistle and another timeout.
Coach Tommy Pierce going to take a break here.
Timeout Ithaca.
So,
17 left here in the fourth.
As we have a timeout here with 1:17 to go in regulation. So let's say the Bombers don't score 3 goals here in the next 1:17. It seems pretty improbable.
Yep.
So if they don't muster a comeback here, what does this mean for their season? How can the Bombers recover, and what can they do better and learn moving forward?
Well, I think you don't want to take a absolute conclusion from one game, right? Because they've been playing some really good lacrosse this season. I think if you're the Bombers, you already feel satisfied just based on the fact that you're playing better lacrosse than you were a year ago. Only 2 losses in your out-of-conference schedule. This will make it the third. But you beat Vassar. You only had 1 conference win a year ago. And you go into RPI after being battle-tested. You know where your flaws are in a game like this. And a lot of it is going to come from your offense. Now, missing Kyle Proctor has a lot to do with why the Bombers were a little slower today. Is it 3 goals difference? I don't know. Because Kyle Proctor, he adds so much, and he may just be that kind of Magic Johnson piece, the center of your puzzle offensively. It all runs through him. It really does, him and Kyle Proctor, but you need just the ability to work without your stars sometimes. They're not always going to be there for you.
All right, off the timeout, Bombers are going to need to get a shot off, maybe multiple chances off quickly. Moving in, sending it back up top, off to the left, across, drive and a goal! 9-7. All of a sudden, it gets a little more interesting.
Great pump fake to draw Freed out of the net. You kind of seen that when Freed's in a tunnel against his offensive counterpart. He moves out of the goal, makes it a little closer, which is going to leave some room behind Freed, and that's exactly what we see. Face-off time, though. You got to win this. If you don't, the game is over.
Kyle Proctor on the assist for Jack Pastore. Second straight goal for him this game. 1:04 on the clock. Can the Bombers get the draw? We have a whistle.
False start. Who's it against? It's against the Bombers.
Ooh, that's a tough blow for the Bombers.
You know, there's no fouling in basketball, or there's no fouling like there is in basketball, so now you just got to pretty much berate the guy.
Yeah, try to get a turnover, and that's exactly what happens. And then we've got a stoppage, and do we have another timeout?
Yeah, we do.
Yes, we do. 55.3 on the clock.
There's 55.3 seconds left.
Hamilton uses a timeout, and we'll take one too. Be right back. Stay with us here on Bomber Sports. Here after the timeout, Hamilton just used it. Both teams trying to make sure they do everything right. Ithaca trying to get a takeaway here and get an offensive possession here to make it maybe a 9-8 game with under a minute to go. And the way Hamilton has been risk averse and very careful and very precise, a lot of things have to go right for Ithaca,
to say the least. This is a point for sure, Morgan, where they're not looking to take any shots.
Yeah, the shot clock is more than the game clock. So if Ithaca doesn't force a takeaway, Hamilton could just run around, waste clock. Don't have to take a shot here, but they do, and they score, and that ices it. 10-7. Hamilton with 31 and a half seconds to go. Celebration going on the field and on the bench as Hamilton is closing in on one of their best wins of the year.
A win they needed, really.
Evan DeBurgess on the tally to put it away. 3-goal game with just over a half a minute to go. We will have a draw here at the center circle, but this game looks to be in the books.
Well, now that the possession goes back to him, there's a stronger chance, really, Ithaca has an opportunity to come back.
They need a lot to go right here as it squeaks out into the offensive zone. Charging towards the front. It deflects, goes wayward. Here comes Hamilton with the ball past the center of the field. Inside 20 seconds, now down to 15. The Hamilton College Continentals coming in with a losing record. They played tough, but have fallen in some close games, and this time a close game goes their way. They knock off Ithaca. The Bombers lose for the first time at home all year. It snaps their 5-game losing streak. A strong performance start to finish. Hamilton 10, Ithaca 7.
Fantastic performance right there. And Morgan, it opens up holes in this Bombers team that Coach Pierce and the roster can now reflect on going into a tough game against RPI. But listen, we got some even better analysis than what I'm saying from our two friends over here in China Lease and Anthony Delonte. So let's see what they have to say after our break.
Yeah, exactly right. We'll send it right to them for Postgame. Breaking it all down for Devin Jarvis and Morgan Spriggs. Thanks so much for listening, but don't go away and stay around for Postgame coverage. See you later and have a great rest of your Tuesday night.
Welcome back to Hickam Stadium here for the post-game coverage between the Ithaca Bombers and the Hamilton Continentals. Well, at the halftime, it was 5-3, but the first possession of the game would give Hamilton the 6-3 lead, with Thomas Healy scoring his first goal of the evening. Then it was him once again back-to-back goals for Hamilton, getting 7-3 for his second goal of the game. And Hamilton would add another to make it a 5-goal game, with Jamie Wild scoring it there in the third, and Tim Rogers would end out that third quarter with a goal with 57 seconds left, making it 8-4 at the end of 3. Once again, Hamilton back on the board. Thomas Healy picked up his hat trick with making it a 9-4 game. Kyle Savey made his second goal of the game, making it 9-5, and then Jack Pastor got back-to-back for Ithaca, making it 9-7 before an Evan DeBurgess goal with 31 seconds left would make Hamilton the winner of this one. 10-7 here. Anthony Labonte, Johnny Lisi. Johnny, impressive game by Hamilton there, especially defensively.
Yeah, absolutely, Anthony. I really, one moment that pushed the momentum forward for the Continentals, that was that goal that immediately out of halftime, they kept the momentum going. They said, our momentum is not going to stop at the halftime break. They kept it going, and that was really a sign to me that, hey, this Hamilton team, they're a legit team. But I really want to shout out the leading scorer for the Continentals, who was absolutely fantastic. And that is Thomas Healy, the junior attack from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. 3 goals and an assist. He was spectacular, really the big guy for Hamilton. And this is not the game that Coach Pierce and Ithaca wanted. 7 goals. That is the second lowest total of the season. The lowest total of the season was 6 goals in the 6-5 win at Stockton. But you look at this game, and there's an old saying that I really love in sports and in coaching is you either win or you learn. And this Ithaca team, they're on a 5-game winning streak. You want to keep winning. A 5-game winning streak, a good Liberty League win. But, hey, you learned a lot about your team tonight. You look at this Bombers team, and Devin and Morgan were saying it. The Bombers have a lot to look at. They have a whole lot of film, good and bad, to unpack before their contest on Saturday on the road at RPI. So, you don't want to lose, but this is not the worst time for kind of a season-altering loss.
So a 5-game winning streak snapped here of the Bombers, but also an 8-game winning streak at Higgins Stadium is also snapped here with the Continentals win. Continentals came into this one 2-4. Now they're 3-4. How does a win like this shift their season around to where now they can make a run for the potential national championship?
Well, this is a great win for Hamilton. This is their first winning streak of the season. They beat Colby at home on Saturday, and now next Saturday they go on the road to a very good 6-1 Bowdoin Polar Bears team. So if you can beat the Polar Bears and get 3 wins in a row, if you're Hamilton, that is very significant. Going into the meat of your NESCAC schedule, if you're Hamilton, this is a really good win against a really good Liberty League team. And this is almost, believe it or not, seems like kind of the halfway point in the season. Because, it does not feel like spring yet. We're at the end of March. But these two teams, Hamilton is kind of making that turn for more consistent NESCAC teams. And Ithaca, this is their last non-conference opponent until mid-April when they travel to Cortland to play the Red Dragons. So if you're both of these teams, it's a great time for a win for Hamilton. Not an ideal time for a loss for Ithaca, but this is a good time to turn your season around. This isn't the second to last game of the season where you really can't change going into the playoffs. This is a time where you know what you need to change before you're playing arguably the best opponent on your schedule in the RPI Engineers.
What does Ithaca need to do if they want to come back and get that victory against RPI?
Plain and simple, you got to win the faceoffs. That was the biggest sticking point for the Bombers tonight, and Coach Pierce is going to address that. Chase Gillick struggled a little bit, coming in not in relief of Chris Soule, but Chris Soule went 3 for 8. Gillick struggled, so you really have to succeed in the faceoffs and getting offensive possessions. The Bombers' offense, Morgan Spriggs described it perfectly early in the game. The offense for Ithaca was flat. The offense really needs to have more life to it. We need to see the crisp and connected team passing play that we saw in wins against Brockport and Vassar. And if you can do that, you could potentially play a tight game against RPI, but the team really needs to play more cohesively.
Well, that will do it for us here on the postgame show. Johnny Lisi, Anthony Labonte saying so long as the Ithaca Bombers and the Hamilton Continentals finish up with Hamilton winning this one 10-7 at Higgins Stadium.